Hey there, welcome to another text and talk about Dev Diary number 61, Indoctrination, Unrest, and Faction Interactions. Wow, Stellaris is gonna be all political. Let's see what this is about. Yeah, I've skimmed through it, and there's a free feature that's called Unrest, and there's paid features. That can fix the free feature. No, it's not like that. Anyone who's ever accidentally enlightened fanatic purifiers should be well familiar with the perils of not checking the ethics of a primitive civilization before deciding to enlighten or infiltrate them. Yes, I've done that I've played, but that was intentional. Like, I've role played like naive xenophiles, and they would like just say, oh, let them be who they are and enlighten them. That was a disaster. Now, we've added a new tool for players to interfere with the primitive civilizations, Indoctrination. That's a new observation station mission that allows you to educate primitives in your clearly superior way of thinking. If you hear me speak very slowly, then listen closely, because you're going to adapt to our clearly superior way of thinking here. While active, it will greatly increase the attraction of your governing ethics for the pops on the primitive planet. And re-education, yes, it makes them great. It makes them make Nuff Jane great again. And cause them to drift towards those ethics over time. As the pops start changing ethics, the governing ethics of the primitive civilization will change along with them. And you'll be notified that your mission is making progress. And after enough time to do its job, the mission will eventually cause the primitive civilization's ethics to be precisely your own. The indoctrination requires the active native interference policy and will be available to all ethics. Let's see. It doesn't seem to cost anything from what we see here, but of course, yeah, it costs the maintenance for the observation post. I just is there for a while, and then there's a shift. Oxbraxian societal shift. They've opened the eyes of the Oxbraxi to a spiritual realm they never knew was there. Apparently they changed some materialists. They finally have something to believe in, to spiritualists, and their society is all the more richer for it. They will thank us one day. Yeah, it's for the greater good. So if you want to distribute the greater good to the whole universe, to the whole galaxy, let's start with that. This is your expansion, because it's the paid feature. Now to the free feature. There is an own system called Unrest. It's bound to planets, getting a value from 0 to 100, and it has sometimes empire-wide effects. And of course, it is determined by local conditions and empire-wide effects. So that's that. It's primarily increased by unhappy pops, decreased by happy pops, as you would think, and the presence of garrisoned armies. So if you have armies there, of course, unrest will go down. But always, I mean, if you have like xenophile pacifists or fanatic pacifists, maybe it will go up by the presence of garrisoned armies. That would be fun, right? Maybe they will add that. Free pops will have a higher effect on unrest than enslaved ones, representing their ability to better organize against their so-called oppressors. And it has directly detrimental effects on the planet's ability to produce resources, can result in a number of different events. Yeah, that's the problem, depending on the severity of the situation. The effects, such events are primarily political, your population turning towards a particular ethic, or against a government that is unable to protect it from violence and terrorism. However, unrest can also turn more serious when it's coupled with the presence of a particularly discontent or oppressed group, such as an enslaved underclass or a nationalist movement. Wow, I see drama unfolding. Can anyone... I mean, Spartacus, like the worlds of Spartacus. Now not only the robots can revolt, it's also like a whole slave group that can revolt and maybe take the planets. When such a group begins to organize, you'll get an event warning you of the situation that gives you some time to try and get the unrest under control. Fair warning. If you fail to do so, the situation will escalate, resulting in events of increasing severity, such as hunger strikes, riots, possibly even a full-blown armed revolt. Yeah, the current system with the suppress stuff was like, it was a no-brainer to just suppress them, and then they would go away after a while. So I think that's an improvement. That's going to be fun. Like the tormenting fun of when you're going on a long jog and you didn't expect yourself to be so slow and the way so long. But that's going to be fun, yeah. And after that jog, you're totally exhausted and I think, why after all these years, why have I tried to jog? So, let's see. We have Unrest here on that world, on Pelisimus Primus. Unhappy slaves plus 90. Armies fixed that by 60. But the effects are still minus 15%. So you would assume that from the multipliers, total 30, maybe per 10 unrest you get minus 5 of that effect. It could be. Represents the level of discontent and political instability on this planet. Pops and slaves increase unrest, garrisoned armies decrease it. Yeah, we can see that. But how many armies would you need? Maybe 10 per army or maybe 20? We'll see, maybe. High unrest can have direct and negative consequences. Oh, I'll also do on Sunday, Sunday German time, I'll also do a video about what was released on Twitter, and maybe I'm always collecting them at the end of the week now because it has been so much lately, and we'll see. Maybe we'll find out more about this then. There have been some enlightening posts on the perks, on the Ascension perks and stuff on that tradition system in the last one I made. And in this one maybe we'll find out more about the Unrest, as the Death Diary is about it. The Death Diary is usually about what they made along the week, or what they made public along the all week. So Unrest on good authority. The disturbances on Pelisimus Primus have propelled a new narrative to the forefront of the colony's political stage, one of populist strongmen and order at the expense of freedom. Who is who thinks this is something that could have happened in real world? In the real world, I mean, I don't think that could happen, no. Of course it can happen in the real world. You may think of an example, a recent one. So, what changes then in your empire is the authoritarian attraction modifiers added for 240 months. So for 20 years. Wow. That's a long time. That's along the lines of EU4, basically, where you have also nationalists revolting, and then for, I think it was 20 years, you have a problem with them. So the authoritarian ethics attraction is plus 100%. So your ethics may change because of unrest. And also a slaves rally there, representing that unrest. Clandestine slave meetings at night raised levels of defiance towards superiors. Missing goods can only mean one thing. The slaves on Pelisimus Primus are radicalizing, spreading dissent and discord among their peers, and fear to the rest of the population. Whatever they are up to, it can't be good. This calls for action. It's all out Spartacus. Now let's see, faction interactions, free feature. Yeah, you now have the factions and you can see what they're all about. So let's see. Also in Dev Diary 54, which I've also spoken about in the playlist. I'm linking in the upper right corner. There should be an eye, and I'm linking always the playlist there. So if you want to look the Dev Diary 54 video, it should be there. Like, it's sorted newest first. So yeah, shift your governing ethics. You can change your ethics in time now. This is represented here. And if you have, I think, certain percentages, then you'll have certain factions, and these factions will then change your governing ethics. So allows you to both influence which ethics will take root in your empire, as well as change your governing ethics when a particular ethic grows strong enough. Each ethic has at least one associated faction, such as the supremacist faction for xenophobes. By promoting or suppressing that faction, you can spend a monthly influence cost to increase or decrease the attraction of its associated ethic across your empire. If a faction grows strong enough, you can also embrace that faction, shifting your governing ethics to more closely align with theirs. Most cases, shifting your governing ethics will involve moving a single step towards that ethic. For example, moving from xenophobe to fanatic xenophobe, or from fanatic xenophile to xenophile, if shifting towards xenophobe. So it might be that, but if you're like shifting from xenophobe to less xenophobe, will you then shift to nothing? Huh. This will typically result in having too many or too few governing ethics. It will also automatically adjust your other ethics to follow the 3 ethics points rule. Also, it will, all right, downgrading, upgrading, removing or adding ethics as necessary. Oh, that's gonna be chaos. Let's see. Which ethic is lost or added is determined by attraction. So if you are spiritualist, xenophobe and authoritarian and make a shift towards militarist, whichever of spiritualist, xenophobe and authoritarian has the lowest attraction in your empire will be lost as a governing ethic. That makes sense. So, yeah, but so you have a problem if you don't have strong majority factions for your government ethics. You have a problem. You have a very diverse one. So it's still important to have that ethics shift decrease. So you can see here the human dominance movement. Grand Marshal Sidney Beauclair. Issues: they want a human Grand Marshal, invasive xeno studies, access to xeno slaves, no free xenos, and asserting dominance. So if you embrace that faction, it will permanently change our governing ethics and will displease all other factions in our empire. Wow. So if you embrace them, you have a huge problem then. So change comes at a cost. You cannot just change. It always comes at a cost. And there's like the three possibilities, 3 options for you. You can embrace the faction. That is, I think, the strongest plus one that can promote the factions. Will please them, make their ethics more attractive to our population for as long as it is active. We can make it more popular and then embrace the faction, which will then the diminished other factions will not add as much unrest, I think. And you can suppress it still. So that's something here. So this will displease them, make their ethics less attractive to our population for as long as it is active. And what does a suppressed faction suffer? Faction happiness minus 20%. The modifier is added, giving the following effects. The ethics attraction goes down by 50%, monthly influence -1. Wow. So it's very costly now, probably, to suppress a faction. Let's see, there's more here. You can also see the embrace faction option. So it can only be done once every 20 years. 20 years seems to be a marker there. Support is greater than 20%. That is a requirement. The Commonwealth of Man does not have fanatic xenophobe ethic. All right. So yeah, if you embrace that faction and you're already fanatic xenophobe, then yeah, that would be a downgrade, and that cannot be done with the human dominance movement, of course. So, and the faction happiness will go up by 20%, shifts its ethics towards xenophobe. What is missing here in the tooltip still is the displeasement of other factions in the empire. Will it go down by 5%, 10%? We don't know. But that's certainly, that's really political. I think this is very interesting. Stellaris has started as a relatively, compared to now, simple space game like the ones of Master of Orion. Not that I don't like Master of... I have played Master of Orion 2, the old one, for like probably real life months or something. I love it, but this is like another thing. It's marching into the grand strategy, or rather grand history, a history in space, a sandbox history kind of thing. It's already we will have great stories with this, and we'll have it would be great to... You can definitely base your secret novel on your Stellaris game soon. That's not going to be a problem. And of course, the Banks patch with Iron Banks, very related to that. The culture novels, I can also only recommend them. I'm into the second book of it now, and it's getting better and better. The second book is, by the way, called The Player of Games. It's about a game player, very good one, and he's getting into trouble because he cheated one time and now he's trying to make up for it with more games. What a great book. What a great book. It's fascinating. It's far in the future. It's crazy stuff. So, and what's in the next dev diary? So thankfully for me, expansion is not coming out yet. I have so much to prepare, or I want to prepare so much more like that. So what's going to be next week? Government and civics. That sounds kind of boring, but I don't think it is. And hive minds. That's going to be a crazy option. Hive minds. What does that spark in you? I'm thinking of the old Rat Kings. I'm thinking of the Borg. What does it spark in you? Now, if you like this video, it's easy to subscribe. Then you'll always get the updates. As I already said, in the upper right corner, there's the playlist. You could also subscribe to the playlist, but subscribing to playlists is a little bit sucky because you won't get a message that a new video comes out. You would just have them at your left down menu, and so you won't get messaged. If you want to get a message when a new dev diary, for example, comes out, or when I also have guides and running Let's Play on hard for the Leviathans, more to role play. That is going into a very interesting phase. Like, we're so far, I've never been such a long-running game. So crazy future text and all like that. If you like that, just subscribe. And of course, you'll also get messaged all the time, like weekly. Get the Stellaris update, and usually on Sunday when I have the time, I'll make the weekly Twitter social media thing, so you'll get more news, rumors, screenshots that I'm collecting from the social media. And so I just say happy gaming to you, and see you in the next video of whatever sort. Have a good time.